Hello, Nilo. We were just talking about you in the other workshop. So
Oh
he and
no.
I,
Oh no. What was it? Oh.
it was for the asynchronous tutoring.
Oh
We
yeah.
were watching one of your voice thread tutoring videos, like your voice thread things. We were basically going over your strengths and weaknesses,
It was rough, wasn't
and
it?
it
It
wasn't rough. It was really good. You did probably better than I did when I first did mine.
Ugh,
Um,
voice
But
thread.
she was like, oh, yeah. So he was talking about how she was like probably gonna want to talk to you because it was like kind of good going over it and kind of pointing out the strengths and weaknesses just so like you know what you can do in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. God knows I need some help with that because there come times where I'm just like leaving my feedback on a voice thread and I'm just like, did I say that again already? What am I supposed to say? Like what else? I'm just like I'm like
Yeah.
I keep like blabbering sometimes. By the end of like the comment, I'm like, I said the same thing about 4 times over and over again. I think they get the
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, I think that's kind of reassuring though, like kind of reiterating like what your point is. I think
Yeah,
I did that a lot too in mine. Like I kind of felt like I was repeating myself, but I just wanted to make it obvious that that's what they needed help with.
right. Yeah. But it is what it is. Shoot. So
I wonder if there's I wonder if there's going to be more or less this semester.
I keep thinking about that because like it's just so convenient. And like
Hmm.
there's gonna be a lot of people like who probably don't want to spend too much time on campus or at least minimize their time on campus.
Hmm.
So I'm
Yeah.
already expecting that there's gonna be a lots of like voice thread appointments. Um, there's probably gonna be a lot of like drop-ins during tutoring hours as well, even though a lot of us
Hmm.
are on campus.
Yeah.
So yeah, this online thing is not ending anytime soon, at least the way I think about it.
Yeah, I'm working virtually, but I wasn't expecting to move into housing, but I did. And
Yeah.
I have a roommate, so I'm probably gonna be going into the writing center anyways and just working virtually there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of just makes sense.
Yeah. Is there
Definitely.
anyone else coming to this workshop? Oh.
Speaking of, all right, there he is. Um, yeah, to answer your question, then it is just you two. And I guess Brianna wants a recording. So welcome. This is helping with EMT responsibilities 101. Um, honestly, since we're all pretty experienced here, I don't think we have to go too in depth, although I think everybody who receives a recording would probably appreciate going a little in depth. So we can talk over like the major points of EMTing. At this point, I'm sure most of us have been an EMT in the class at one point or another. I know both of you have are seasoned veterans at this point of being the EMT. Um, so I guess I'm gonna start out by asking you guys, what is something you want to improve on this semester with your EMT duties? Or what do you think is something you can do better that you really want to work on?
I think the biggest thing that I am constantly trying to work on, and I'm always mentioning to like when I mentioned to Scott and like Abby when we have like our meetings about the EMT classes is how to engage them
Mhm.
because you can like advertise the writing center and stuff like the services as much as you want. But it's like getting them to listen. That's the toughest part. And like kind of communicating in a way that will want them coming into the writing center.
Yeah, yeah, totally get that.
Yeah, I'd say honestly about the same for me. I only, did the whole EMT thing for, one class last semester, the freshman class, English 105,
Mhm.
and no one came in the semester.
Yeah.
And I had made those videos every week and stuff, but like Jordan said, just getting them to listen is a completely different kind of thing. So yeah, it'd be nice to be able to actually reach out to more people. But
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure. What's up, Adrian?
What's up, man? It's been so long.
I feel like it's been years.
It really
I,
has
I,
been.
I feel like I just ran into my long lost cousin here. Like, oh my God, like, wow, on
Yeah,
Zoom of all places.
we didn't like see each other like a past year either.
I know, that's the thing. Shoot. Adrian, is there anything you want to improve on with your EMT duties this semester? Or something you want to build on?
I think I'm gonna build on. Trying to think.
Hmm.
I think maybe communicating a little bit more.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was on Dr. Clifton Justin's EMT the past year,
Mhm.
and his class was asynchronous just because my shifts are like in the evening.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, maybe just kind of, it's not that I did not communicate with him, just that like he never forced the students to go to the WMC.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think I need to be, just because of that, I wasn't really on like, it's not that I wasn't attentive to his class. It's just that like, it's kind of hard to be attentive to a class that's asynchronous. You don't really force your students to go to the WMC either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very good point.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good point. A lot of the times it does, depend on the professor as well, especially if visiting the WMC is part of their grade, because there will be professors who, will tell you that if you want extra credit, right, or it's a requirement that you show a tutoring slip, with your assignment, when you turn it in. And then there will be other professors who, won't exactly require that. I mean, I know in a lot of freshman classes as well, they won't exactly pressure, students to visit the WMC since they are so new, right? They're still trying to figure out like this is an incredibly new environment, like WMC, what's that? So a lot of the time, yeah, it kind of depends on us taking that step to nudge students towards using our services, making sure that you're always available, if you want to go over their paper a bit more with them as well. So yeah, very good point there. Now, second question for all of you: what is a strength that you think you've formed over this time serving as an EMT that you really rely on and that you think will really help you going forward this semester?
I think for me, my strength has been like the amount of communication and like thorough communication that I've had with the professors
Mhm.
and like kind of addressing conflicts and things that come up or that I notice when there is a class that like there's tuties that come in because it's required or they just like come in on their own. So I think my strongest suit is like basically working with the professors and talking with them, trying to get everything worked out, like working through conflict with them.
Good. Yeah.
yeah, I'd say kind of the same. Even though I didn't have any tutees come in, communication with the professor was probably the best part of my EMT experience, just because Scott is so helpful with everything. But
Yeah.
yeah, I really like that. I thought that was a good experience for me.
I think for me, I think it's more about listening and doing what the professor wants, catering
Yeah.
to their needs.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so for Dr. Justice, what I did for him, I did my boot camps, and I specifically I think during like the second semester I worked with him, he did offer extra credit for those who did go to the WMC, and I think he did want me. I did the things he wanted me to do, so I think he just kind of refined their papers, nudged them in the right direction on the way he wanted the journals to be written out for his class. And so personally, I think I did a pretty good job of that. And I think understanding what the professor wants and implementing it when I have the opportunity.
Right. Definitely. Sounds good. So you guys all touched upon the first point I wanted to make about EMT responsibilities. But let me just follow up first by saying, you all are capable. So, whatever strengths you did not name, I'm sure you still have secret talents that you don't even know about. So don't even worry. You guys got this in the bag. Fall 2021, let's go. But, but all right. So first item on the agenda, though, that I really wanted to talk about is communication. I think communication will actually take up the bulk of what we're going to talk about today, because this is kind of our job. We are communicators as EMTs. We are facilitating between the class and between the writing center, right? And a lot of this involves communicating between professors, between SOHI, right? And between the students in the classes we are EMTing for. So it's kind of on us to again, facilitate all of these moving parts and to make sure that we're touching base with each, with each moving part here and making sure that they're all getting connected. We're kind of that bridge, right, between the class and between the writing center, between the professor and the writing center even. To use another analogy, if this was a basketball team, we kind of are the point guard, we got to set up the plays, we got to pass the ball, So the first line of communication that I wanted to cover is communication with the professor. So raise of hands, who has gotten their tutoring schedule or their EMT schedule at this point? And okay, so Jordan, you've gotten yours. Adrian, AJ, you think you've got yours. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, good point. So more or less, does everybody know their schedules, right? And okay, yeah, their tutor plans and whatnot. Okay, so week one, we've received our tutoring schedules. We have our plans. I highly encourage that you save your tutoring plan, the page at least, bookmark that thing, make sure it's easily accessible. The first thing we need to do is not access, but contact the professor. I think the beginning of the semester email it's everything almost. Well, it's not everything, but it ensures that you're off to a great start, right? So if you haven't yet, please reach out to your professor. You absolutely want to establish that line of communication as early as possible. And in your introduction email, you want to make sure that you're addressing that you want to meet with them, whether in person or in Zoom. It doesn't really matter. It's kind of up to what mode they're most comfortable with and what's most convenient for them. Always frame your email. I had to learn this, a couple times. You always have to frame your email as to what you can do for them, right? Not like, oh, professor, could you please, do this, or could you please help me, facilitate? No. We're at their service, right? We're here to make life easier for the entire class and for the professor. So always frame this email as whatever works best for them. Oh, would you like to meet in person during your office hours? If that works best for your schedule, we can do that. Would you like to meet during Zoom? We're basically trying to fit in with their schedule and trying to work around their calendar, basically. Yeah, so that's one part of the introduction email. The next thing is you want to make sure that you're scheduling an in-person meeting that goes over their requirements. You want to be thorough in this case, because when you receive your tutor plans, there is going to be a short explanation as to what your duties are going to be, as for visiting, in-person sessions, for example, class sessions, checking grammar, citation style and whatnot. But you want to talk to the professor about their specific requirements, because first, they're going to go much more in detail when you talk to them about them. And also, they're going to give you a better time frame as to when they want something completed, how their class schedule is going to work. And a lot of their expectations, well, it just sounds much more thorough when it's coming out of their own mouth, or when they're telling you themselves. So for example, let me pull up the email I just sent to my EMT professor today. Let me share my screen with you guys. So this isn't anything really fancy, right? But you want to make sure that you have some of these elements. And again, I'm not calling myself an absolute professional here, right? And the master of the email. We're all learning. I'm still learning a lot of the time. Yeah, I mean, look at the profile photo. Like, is that professional? Probably not, but like, that's beside the point. I digress. So of course you want to address your professor, hello, Dr. Key Rose, give your little greeting. I hope this email finds you well. A very common salutation, let's be honest. I've worked with this professor multiple times. In fact, every semester since fall 2020, I've worked with Dr. Key Rose, right? So we're kind of established here, right? I just kind of let her know that I'm excited to be working with her again this semester. But yeah, I established here that I want to meet and discuss the class, talk over the expectations and requirements that she has for the course. But also, it's come to my attention that right, this class is going to be in an in-person setting. The class will be meeting in person, so I want to see how those expectations might change a little during in-person hours, right? Especially as we all make this shift from Zoom to in-person classes, especially since all of us here only know how to tutor online. Basically, I mean, that's kind of what we've lived through this whole time. So I don't think it would hurt to address that as well, to highlight the change. And again, asking the professor to let me know when she has time to talk, whether in person or on Zoom. And just come at this with an eager attitude, right? I am looking forward to working with Sci 300 once again. I am eager to be working with you this semester. You want to make sure that you're presenting yourself in a way that makes the professor trust you, right? That makes them know that, okay, I can rely on this guy, right? I know that they're going to be able to help me throughout the semester. So that's basically the first thing you want to do this semester for your EMT responsibilities. Since we've all basically received our schedules and our tutor plans this semester, if you haven't already, establish communication with your professor ASAP. Any questions so far? Okay, gotcha. And going through the semester, communication is going to be super important because number one, schedules will change sometimes. More often than not, a professor will sometimes cancel class or will move the class meeting from this date to this date, right? Especially when it comes to the tutor dropping in, for example. So you always want to clarify with your professor if the date is staying the same. And this is especially in regards to dropping in. You want to perhaps shoot the professor an email the night before, or maybe at the beginning of the week, asking them if they still plan to have you drop into their class, just to make sure that the schedules are up to date. Because in my experience, sometimes professors will also change the schedule without notifying me. And when it comes to the day of the class, I'm like dropping in and nobody's there, and it's kind of like, oh, this is awkward. I guess I came at the wrong time, or maybe this is the wrong Zoom room. Do they need to send me a different link? No, they just changed the schedule, and I never bothered to ask them if they had changed the schedule. So that's another important aspect of communication, making sure everything is up to date. If there's a change to your schedule as well, obviously you're going to have to tell them, right? Just like we'd tell Marissa and Sohee, if we had to miss a day, for example, you're also going to want to let your EMT professor know that, okay, I won't be available on this day or this day for tutoring hours, or I won't be able to drop into class this particular day because I'm sick, for example, or for personal reasons, for example. So you always want to keep them up to date with your own personal schedule as well. Basically, you're updating the professor about almost every aspect of your job. I mean, as relates to your EMT duties, right? It's like a business partnership, basically. Without any money on the line, obviously. But your relationship, any relationship in general, any healthy relationship is built on good communication. Your EMT professor is no different. You want to make sure that everything is up to date. You want to make sure that, well, yeah, you just want to make sure everything's up to date. You also want to notify every now and then how many students are coming in to the WMC. This will most particularly be in the midterm email that you send to your professor to catch up with them. We all get those on our schedule when we have to write the midterm, report to the professor, and the end of the semester report as well. Without violating FERPA, of course, we don't want to, specifically name certain students like, oh my gosh, Janice has been coming, every week, or, oh, Dante really needs help on his paper, but he never comes to the WMC. No, that's illegal. At least to my understanding, that's kind of, not lawful. Instead, what you want to do is just let them know, like through a rough estimate, how many students have been coming into the WMC, what you've been working on most. Let them know about the patterns you're noticing when students from your EMT class are visiting you for tutoring, or what they need help with during in-class drop-in hours. If multiple students are having trouble with APA citations, for example, or if grammar is a big problem with more than one student, maybe this is something you want to address with the professor. You want to update your progress with them as well. Especially if you're noticing significant improvements. This is something you want to tell your professor about. Or if you're noticing that students have a hard time perhaps accessing the writing center, or maybe don't feel too encouraged to visit the writing center. This is something you all want to discuss with your professor, because again, a lot of professors are willing to slap on the extra credit to the writing center visit. So this is going to be something that you can talk about with your professor as well. All that being said, communication with your professor is of the utmost importance. So get used to emailing them. Again, you don't want to absolutely inundate their inbox with emails like every day. Oh, so-and-so came in today. Oh, I'm noticing that, like, give it every once in a while, when you think it's necessary, or just to catch up with the schedule. You will be working a lot with your professor, but they're not your bestie. You can't be texting them at every point of the week. But keep a very good line of contact with your professor. This is going to ensure the success of this arrangement. Any questions on any of that? Are we feeling pretty good so far? Good. All right. So we've gotten the professor duties out of the way, and how we should be approaching our relationship with our EMT professor, and how we can build a good working relationship here. Next, we want to touch upon how to communicate with students. Now, after the professor, the students are going to be the people that you're going to be communicating most in your EMT course. And the thing is, it depends on how active your students are. So to make that make sense, let me ask you guys, have you generally in the past noticed your EMT class students to be more active, often reaching out to you via Canvas message or scheduling appointments, or do you, okay, so the shaking of the heads instantaneously. So I'm guessing you guys were more of the experience of having the class that was more aloof, didn't really access the writing center, only came in because they had to, basically.
Either that or it was extra credit.
Or it was extra credit, right? Painful experience, but I totally know how that feels. I've lived through that. I remember my first semester at the WMC, spring 2020, the COVID semester. You know, and the couple of weeks that I did visit my EMT, well, I don't think that was EMT. It was like under another term, like in-class tutoring or something like that. But yeah, right. But for the couple of weeks that I was able to drop into class, and I think it was on a weekly basis, I was doing English 105, I think it was, with Professor Spittler Lawson. The students were kind of the aloof type, and you know, that's to be expected because I think this was a freshman class. So you know, it was kind of like a deer in headlights experience for them at one point, right? Because they weren't too eager about visiting the WMC, and whenever I would kind of rotate from table to table, it was kind of an awkward experience, right? Because they're so new. I was kind of like, you know, asking and trying to get involved by asking, do you guys need any help? Like, are you guys following along? And it would be like, no, we don't need any help. Or like, yeah, we're following along. Yeah. I'm like, so what are you guys working on? Oh, a little group project. Yeah, we're doing research. Do you guys need help with the databases? Like, are you guys pretty familiar? Yeah, I'm figuring it out. Right? You're gonna get those classes sometimes, right? It's gonna happen, you know, especially if you are EMTing for, excuse me, a freshman class this semester, one of those 105 classes, one of those one in the hundreds. You know what to expect. Let's be realistic here. It's the onus is kind of on us to open up and to get them talking, to nudge them towards, you know, involvement. And, you know, truth be told, after a couple of weeks of, you know, dropping into Professor Spittler Lawson's class, they started opening up more. They started talking a lot. They started, you know, even getting involved, asking questions about, hey, Nilo, how do you think I can improve my research paper here? How do you think I can, you know, incorporate more sources, you know? Oh, this is how you use the databases. Oh, that's so cool, you know. So we were making really good progress in a matter of 2 weeks, and then Miss Rona hit. So that was fun. So you know, that was kind of sad, but like, point being that it's all about chipping away to the more aloof classes. You know, making sure that you keep showing that you're putting in effort here, right? You're putting in effort to be their tutor. You're putting in effort to reach out, to make sure that you're checking up, you know, checking up on them if they need help, presenting yourself as available, you know, not being too intimidating. You know, that's kind of my problem sometimes. I can be like very stoic, you know, because sometimes, because like during a new class, you know, it's really funny, like I become very shy, but then the shyness turns into like stoicism. So it's kind of, yeah, it's kind of funny. Like I'm the shyest like extrovert you'll ever meet.
You're an ambivert.
Oh, that's true. I am an ambivert. Yeah, it really depends on the context or the room. Freshman classes being the awkward room, but
I have another, Nilo.
it's good practice, right? It's good practice for all other classes.
Oh no. Maybe that's why you didn't hear me.
Oh yeah, sorry, you were breaking up, Jordan. What was that?
Oh, I was like, you cut out. I was gonna say, I was gonna add like another thing that I caught on to is if you're working with like a freshman class or something, like a class that's not very engaging, if you do happen to have like one person come in, you can always kind of like gauge what their concerns are, because usually like the concern that that person has is like, can like, it doesn't always happen, but it can be a common concern among all of the students. So like if you kind of open that up, they can be like, oh, like they're willing to help with that. I didn't know, like they might have been scared because like, I don't know, they're just
Mhm.
intimidated. But kind of gauging it from like one person who like was willing to go to the writing center and come in.
Mhm. Absolutely, absolutely right. And that's such a good point, Jordan. I didn't even think about that at the beginning, but yeah. Okay, so that one tutoring appointment is going to be a good opportunity to gauge the room, right? And to know what other people are concerned about. So, gosh, why didn't I think about that before? Yeah, that's a really good point. So you want to take you want that one student to be your scout almost, is what you're saying, making sure that, yeah, that they have all the information from the class. Okay, really good stuff. The other thing that you're going to get with freshman students or with transfer students, because you will encounter a lot of transfer students, especially in 300 classes as well, if you are EMTing for a 300 class, is confusion about accessing the writing center. I was EMTing a couple of classes over the summer, and let me tell you, there was a lot of confusion as to how tutoring appointments worked, as to what my hours were, and as to how to access an actual appointment. And the thing is, like, even towards the end of it was a 5-week course, but even in week 4, I was getting questions about, hey, Nilo, so how do I access an appointment? Do I have to schedule one? Do I just come to your room? Right, because I would get the, so and so entered your Zoom room emails at like very random times because they thought, oh, so I just go to like Nilo's room. Like no. Like I even got asked, like, could we possibly meet during your office hours? But I'm like, I'm not a professor. I don't necessarily have office hours. Like, it's an honor that you think that of me, but I really don't have office hours. We can't do that.
Adrian, didn't you have that problem?
Did you have that?
Was the last semester? People would always drop into the WMC thinking it was office hours.
Yeah, I remember that.
I
So
kind of had
like,
something similar too.
it's really frustrating. I don't know why people just can't read. Um, but like, okay, so what Doctor Justice wanted was like, during my like boot camps, or like I kind of do drop-in hours for the class, and like I said, okay, I have drop-in hours right now. If you guys need them, today's the perfect time. If you come in, extra credit, I think, something like that. Like my hours go from like 8 to 10,
Mhm.
and then like I think it was both semesters. I know Jordan was there for one of them, but like
Mm.
like students kept coming in thinking like these are the office hours for Dr. Justice, and it was my like drop-in hours for you guys, that you guys decided to go away after like finding out that it wasn't the office hours for the professor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
but at that point I can't really do anything. It's just really comprehension on their end.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very frustrating experience for me. Gonna get very personal here, but I was like, oh my gosh, it was the same thoughts for me, Adrian. I was like, like it's all there in the module. It's all there in my EMT module. Meet Nilo, EMT hours, links to the appointments, WMC drop-in room link, my hours. Like I was like, oh my gosh, my people, it's all in the module. I don't know what's going on here. So that's the next part of communication. I know it can get a little tiresome. Um, Honestly, after some point, it's like, I don't want to tell them anymore because I've told them over and over again. But it's kind of on us to like keep guiding the students to those appointments, right? One thing I did over this during my summer course, when I noticed that people were asking the same questions about scheduling an appointment, was I made an announcement myself. Let me pull it up actually. I'm going to go back to Canvas. I think this course is still published. Let me see, yes, Business 310. And in this announcement, I just gave like a little refresher as to how you can schedule your appointments. So let me share my screen with you guys. I tried to make sure this announcement didn't sound very passive aggressive, but it probably still did come off as passive aggressive. But what are you gonna do? I did my best. So as a rundown, right? We kind of go, hello, business 310, welcome to week 4. Oh, excuse me. I've still been getting, so we start here. I've still been getting quite a few questions as to how to schedule a one-on-one tutoring appointment with me and how these appointments work. As a general reminder, the best way you can get an appointment is to fill out an appointment request form. Here we have a link to, oh, what is that? An appointment request form, and submit it to the WMC. You can either request a synchronous appointment where we meet in real time to go over your work, or you can schedule an asynchronous appointment through VoiceThread. Where does this link go? And as you can see, oh wow, what? VoiceThread asynchronous appointment request form, right? So you want to make sure if you're in this situation that you include the links there as well. In the appointment, and here's the other thing. New students, and you can't blame them, right? Because they've never accessed the Writing Center, but sometimes they won't know how the tutoring appointment actually works. I did get a lot of comments or questions like, so how does that work? Do I just come in and give you my paper and you revise it and look over it? And I was like, well, that's the gist of it, except I don't revise it for you. I provide feedback, Some people even thought that it was an arrangement where you just turn in your paper to the Writing Center, right? And somebody goes to work on it. So you want to clarify what we actually do. So here, right, I let them know that in the appointment, I will provide feedback to whatever work you have completed and help you make a plan for revision. Remember that an appointment should be based on your needs and goals, whether it be organization, grammar, or citation. Really pump up the asynchronous appointments to them as well. As you can see, perfect for those of you who are in a pinch and can't attend a live appointment. VoiceThread tutoring is going nowhere, folks. It is very convenient for students working jobs. It is especially convenient for those who want to stay away from campus due to safety or health concerns. They're going to be scheduling an asynchronous appointment probably. So you really want to give them that option. And I want to remind them that, if you're in a pinch, then we can still help you. If your schedule doesn't work out with mine, where there's a will, there's a way. And if you do happen to have drop-in hours for your EMT, what's it called? For your EMT class, where a significant portion of your schedule is blocked off, where you only see your EMT students, let them know what those hours are as well, because my students would get confused as well between regular tutoring hours and drop-in hours, especially oh, do I drop in at this hour? Or can I see you later today? Can I drop into your room? I'm like, no, you're getting things mixed up again. Those are my regular tutoring hours. You have to schedule an appointment there, right? So it's kind of on us to hash out the schedule for them, right? Because let me pull up another page for you guys. There's going to have to be a lot of, clarification. And you're just gonna have to keep reminding students, especially new students new to the school, that, this is how we work, right? Because if you look at this module, with all my hours and with all the links, you'd think, that people would, get the gist of it by now.
To be fair, Nilo, that is a lot of information.
It is a lot of information
know.
is the thing.
If I was a student, I don't know, I would want to go through all of that.
Yeah. To be fair, because this was a 5-week course with 12 different modules. So that is a fair point. This course was crazy. So there's the other thing.
You do have the video. So if they would have watched the video, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Who is this guy? Right. Who's this big hair guy? Oh, it's my EMT. But yeah. So there's another good point. Jordan's coming in here with the good points that I didn't think of before. You want to guide your students through the information overload as well. It's a very overwhelming experience. my first semester at CI as well. Like I was kind of like, oh gosh, what is all this, new stuff here? I'd used Canvas before, obviously, but like just getting used to like the new campus and whatnot, and like, oh wait, we have like sorry, very loud motorcycle outside the window. I was like, what? We have like embedded tutors, like Ventura College wasn't fancy enough for that. You guys get embedded tutors, like but yeah. So clarification, right? That's a very good point. Thank you, Jordan, for going the places I'm apparently not willing to go. And making sure that you're making things as clear as possible, being able to explain things in a very, concise manner that still makes perfect sense to your students, especially when it comes to, what's it called? All of making appointments and whatnot. Very good point. Jordan, Adrian, yes, correct. Jordan always making amazing points. No kidding. Right, sign-up sheets to work writing boot camps as well. You want to make sure that those are available. I don't know if your guys' EMT classes will have writing boot camps, but just as a niche thing as well. So a lot of students will be asking for the tutoring slip, what we call the tutorial visit form. Of course, it serves as proof of their visit to the WMC, so it's very important. Some students will ask if they can get a tutoring slip for attending your writing boot camp. No, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to be strict tutor at that point. Like, no, the tutorial visit form. And, at some points, I did, if it was towards the end of the semester, or if I felt that, okay, well, if they don't have time to, go to any other appointments, I guess I'll give them, a visit form for attending this writing boot camp. But you want to make it clear that, a writing boot camp is not a tutoring appointment, right? Show of hands, who has actually held a writing boot camp here? Yeah, okay, Jordan, Adrian, I think you did, right?
Yeah, I have.
You have, yeah. AJ, don't worry, your time is coming. It will come soon enough. See, the writing boot camp is meant to be a study hall. That's what it is. This is where we can focus, this and get our work done. I even got work done myself, during writing boot camps. And if the tutees have any questions, right, they can address them, and we can talk them over during writing boot camps. But it's not meant to be a tutoring appointment, right? It's not meant to be like one-on-one. Okay, so Nilo, can we go over the organization of my paper? Well, why didn't you schedule, Okay, I'm gonna stop blaming my EMT students for everything. That's not what a good EMT does. But you see, I think everything I've brought up here is just, again, about communication. And this specific communication is about clarifying what your duties are and the services you're offering to your tutees, in your EMT class, how they can access you, different modes of accessing you, and different ways they can have a tutoring appointment. Again, right, the information overload can be a lot. Perhaps the modules are overwhelming and there's a lot to go through. Sometimes, they might miss your whole EMT introduction, unless the professor brings it up, especially in an asynchronous course where there is the minimal, amount of professor guidance as is possible. So, EMT, what does that stand for? They probably skip it since there's no assignment attached to it. So it's kind of our duty as well to like make ourselves known, make your students know that you're available, and to just let them know what you're here for and how you can help them. It's our job. Like it literally is our job. So I think those are my biggest points about being an EMT tutor. A lot of them surrounding communication, first with your professor and Thank you. Thank you. And then with your students, when it comes to the actual tutoring appointments, since we are coming up to 15 minutes left, we'll kind of go over this briefly, but tutoring appointments, right? The actual meat of our job, how we gain the name of tutor. So this is a very specialized area, right? Because we're each assigned to a very specific EMT class. Of course, tutees can theoretically visit any tutor at the writing center, right? But as their EMT, you're gonna have the most knowledge about their course. Even if it's not your major, right? Here I am being the EMT for a psychology course again. I'm by no means a psychologist. Jordan should probably be in my shoes, but that's fine. But the thing is, what was the point I was trying to make? Tutoring appointments, right? Sorry, we've come to the end of the day, folks, as you can tell. It's kind of our job to be up to date with their course content. I do that sometimes, Adrian, because the funny thing is, like, sometimes I'll talk to my friends and I'll pick at their brain. Why did you think about that? So why did you do that? Right? They're just trying to vent or like ask me for advice. I'm like, so what do you think your reasoning was behind that? And they hate me for it. But anyway, but yeah. So when it comes to the tutoring appointments that you will be doing for your EMT course, don't worry too much about like knowing the content of their course, right? Because first and foremost, you're a writing tutor. You're there to make sure their paper is following the format. It's meeting the professor's expectations and requirements for research papers or projects, or visual oral presentations as well. And you're there to make sure that they're following citation standards, which is incredibly important, especially in the field like psychology, right, where APA is, it's the citation style published by the American Psychological Association. Of course, psychology majors and psychology classes will be taking it very seriously. But yeah, regardless of that, citations and proper citation format is going to be important in any class. You want to make sure that you're looking over that. You still want to have a grasp as to what they're talking about in the class, right? In the previous workshop that I was at today, about science writing, they addressed that you shouldn't be afraid of asking your tutee what it means, right? If they present perhaps like a scientific term that you're not familiar with, or some content that you're not really caught up on. If you want a better understanding of what the tutee is writing about, go ahead and ask them. Go ahead and ask them what their goal is here, because regardless, at the beginning of every tutoring appointment, you should be asking your tutee what their goal is for this paper anyway, and what they want to achieve with this, right? So, if you want a better understanding, you should also ask them, what the paper is talking about, if you want a better understanding of it. You don't need to know everything. But if it goes the other way, where the tutee is asking you about things that are not in your specialty, especially if you're tutoring students from outside your major. For example, a lot of the times in my Sci 300 or Sci 301 EMT courses, the students would be asking me about if the statistics looked correct, or if the graph was, what's it called? If the graph was, formatted correctly, for example, if everything looked, accurate. I was just honest with them, and I told them, I'm the writing tutor. Yeah, I'm here to make sure that your paper is properly formatted. I'm here to make sure that it's well written. I can't really help you with the statistics, and to make sure that they're accurate. Measuring things, SPSS or whatever it may be. I've never even heard of that until I was the EMT for your course, so I can't really help you there. I know your course has its own specific LRC tutor, so you could possibly talk to them about if your statistics are looking correct. So you can totally guide them to other resources that would be able to help them, right? Such as the LRC. But remember, it's important that as writing tutors, we stay in our own lane. We're not here we're not here to do anything that is outside of our capabilities, right? And again, I already said that you all are capable folks here with talents you probably don't even know about. So I already know. So don't worry, I'm sure you all can do anything you set your mind to. But if you find yourself in that moment where the 2T is just asking something of you that's outside of your function, feel free to guide them towards other resources. You wouldn't want to do them a disservice either by giving them incomplete, information or like, incomplete, assistance. So yeah, during actual tutoring sessions, just take notes that there will be kind of that confusion between like writing tutor and complete tutor, if that makes sense. A lot of times I'd get questions about like Canvas modules as well that I wasn't even allowed to access. So like, they will sometimes ask you questions that you can legitimately say you don't know. So either you can point them to the professor, right? Because sometimes they will be asking me questions that they should be asking professors in the first place anyway. Or you can direct them to the LRC. And that's not an excuse to like put your responsibilities, on other people. You know full well what your responsibilities are as an EMT. They're outlined for you in your tutor plan. You will be having a very big role, make no mistake, in this class. But again, there are specific things that you can't do either. Another thing that you will notice is probably 2Ts somehow ending up with your email and then sending you emails at God knows when, 9 p.m., 10 p.m. sometimes, asking you, "Hi, Nilo, can you," the mispronunciation of the name too, it continues. But yeah, you will get that email sometimes where it's with the attachment to their paper going, "I couldn't schedule an appointment today, but I really wanted someone to look over my paper. Could you please quickly go over it and then return to me with feedback?" Yeah, no. First of all,
That
Oh, yeah.
happened to me for the first time last semester. I
right.
was like, I finally got one.
She got one, right? Jordan got one, mark off the milestone.
Do actually.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a rite of passage almost for every WMC tutor. It feels, very icky to be, the mean tutor or, to be kind of stuck up like, "Oh, I can't see you today. It's my off hours. I'm not working anymore." Well, it's a little easier at the end of the day when you are tired, let's be honest. And it's like, yeah, I don't want to deal with, I'll answer them tomorrow. But there is, you've given your specific hours. You've given ways they can access an appointment. Don't feel like you have to be Superman, right? And have to like go over, every paper that your students send you. There's a specific place and a specific time people should be coming in to receive tutoring. That's just how it is. There's a specific schedule. Like I've even had professors too, like watching out for me, like, "Oh no, I don't think I want to include your email there because like I don't think my students should be emailing you in the first place." So like professors will get it as well. But yeah, it's not proper in a sense. if this is a very last minute thing, I guess you can make it an allowance. Like I've had a couple of scenarios as well where it was just very last minute, or it was the due date, right? And they couldn't schedule an appointment, where I felt like, okay, well, I guess I can give your paper a quick overview, but I can't really give you a tutorial visit form or anything like that, right? So again, you want to make sure that you are setting boundaries. Let's be honest, that you're setting boundaries with your student, because any healthy relationship requires boundaries in the first place, right? It's no different in the professional world or in academia. So you want to make sure that your students are accessing you when they should be accessing you, when they should be scheduling tutoring appointments and whatnot. So yeah, just watch out, because you will get those messages sometimes, and you will get questions that are better suited for the professor in the first place. But I think those are all the major points I wanted to make about EMT responsibilities. Believe me, with each semester that goes by, the job does get easier. Again, like I said earlier, we're all seasoned veterans at this point, of the EMT. Oh, don't worry, AJ, you're getting there. Don't worry. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to communication. Like I said before, and like I'll say again, you want to make sure that you are keeping everybody up to date with what is going on in your EMT class. You want to spell out the details, and you want to explain things for people, especially your students. You want to explain things for your students that they have you loud and clear. Basically, as your EMT, it is your job to make this thing function easier. And it is your job to make people's lives easier. Any questions, comments, insults?
I don't have a question regarding EMTing. I have a question regarding tutor track.
Uh-huh.
I can't get into tutor track.
That's not good. Were you using the Riderly 2021 password?
2021.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me try that.
Yeah, Riderly 2021, capital W. Worked for me.
It looks like it's working. Okay, I got in. Thank
Okay,
you.
excellent. Excellent. Yeah, just pulled up mine as well. Wow, look at that schedule.
I know, I wanted to check because it's like we start tomorrow.
We start tomorrow, and I hate waking up to the phantom appointment that was scheduled right the morning of. But again, it is what it is. Any other questions or comments on EMTing or just tutor business in general? Or do you guys think we can call it a day?
Nilo, I want to say you did an amazing job today.
Oh, what? Oh,
I
thank
also
you.
want to say that you
Oh,
did an amazing job today.
wow. Thank you,
Very
Adrian and
simple.
Adrian.
You're welcome. I already contacted
So
my
people call me that.
I already talked to my EMT professor today.
Excellent.
Yeah, she's very lovely.
I actually
Excellent.
wrote my email. I don't know if you saw me doing it, but I wrote it as you're
And
talking about the urgency of sending that email. It's like, I should do that right now.
I did
So,
see the strong look of concentration on your face. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah,
yeah. So thank you for reminding me to do that.
of course. Yeah.
Are y'all going to the next one
Yeah,
after this? Yeah.
yeah. This is my first workshop attended. I've been so busy. You
Yeah,
should
I didn't.
feel honored about that, Nilo, too. I've
Feel
been so
so honored.
busy. I've been so
Wow.
busy yesterday and today. I wrote down my name for 3 workshops and I did not attend any of them.
Yeah,
And you
that's-
wrote yours last minute for this one.
Yeah, I just wrote my name for, like, I wanted to attend the one that Brianna, like, Bree wanted to do. And then she didn't show up for like 2 minutes. I said, screw it, I'll just go somewhere else. And I'm like,
Yeah,
for sure I'm gonna go.
Adrian.
Yeah.
I I had a workshop that I was supposed to do this morning, and I think Tiffany was supposed to be there, but I don't know. She must be busy today because I don't think she's been to any of them.
No, no.
But I didn't have anyone attend my workshop, so it's just like awkwardly sitting there.
I only had
Then I was
Nicolay
like-
attend mine yesterday, so don't feel that bad.
Yeah.
I know. I
Yeah.
was like, I guess I'll just go in my Zoom room and record it so other people can like have a recording of something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows? I want to go to yours, Jordan, but I saw Sohi had like a required one for new tutors that
Yeah.
we all had to go to at the same
Yeah.
time, and I was like, ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I figured that would happen because hers was like kind of went over mine.
Yeah, I didn't
yeah.
realize it did, or even that it was
Yeah.
required for some reason.
Yeah,
but,
and it's
yeah.
all those, required, those required workshops. Yeah.
How dare they, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay,
Anyways,
sure.
y'all, thank you for being a faithful audience. I hope you all found something helpful. I hope you gleaned some good information from this. Honestly, as the semester starts, we're all still here to help each other. So let's make a pact, I guess, to like make sure that we're all reaching out to each other when we need help. Yeah, go team. Fall 2021 is not ready. Channel Islands is not ready. All right, Transformers roll out. Night, guys.
All right.
Bye.
See you the next one, guys.
Yeah.